to order at 6 p.m. with a roll call. Harold Lamus.
Here.
Sherry Downing.
Here.
Bobby Horner.
Here.
Jeanette Stewart.
David Rule.
Here. David Rule. Eli Badger. Sandra Coleman. Would you please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. This is my first time as chairman of the Budget Committee holding a public hearing, so if you have any questions, just raise your hand, or if there's something I miss, please tell me, because this is my first year doing it, so. Okay, we're supposed to be doing the school, and they should be here very shortly, so they can go over everything with us.
Nobody has anything to look at, so. From the audience.
Trish was, I don't know, somebody has them.
Trish will not be.
Yeah, I know, but Trish was gonna make sure that the packets were here tonight.
She will have a substitute.
No,
She will not be able to get passed away.
to me, that's just Luton Road. I mean, that's just peanuts to me.
Are the warrant articles separate, or are they in here?
This is the first time I've seen this packet. My guess is they're right in there.
They are, they're in here.
Look through the end, yellow.
Yeah.
Yellow. Go to yellow.
No. It's not ours. Because this is the school budget and my first time as chairman doing the public hearing, I'm going to refer to the school board for a lot of answers because I'm not going to give you wrong answers, so I'll refer to them. Does everybody have a packet? If you look at if you look at the packet, it's only an increase of $7,914. Or 0.23% over last year's budget. They did an excellent job this year going through the budget and making sure that they didn't overspend, so, over budget, so. The teachers' agreement, it's a tentative agreement. It's summarized on warrant Article 3. If you look, I believe they're in yellow, you'll see the warrant articles in the back. The health insurance showed a decrease of 2.0%, which is always good, and the dental is an increase of 2.3%. Does somebody want to talk more from the school board about the Ashland Elementary School Facilities Committee?
As far as?
It says they have developed a capital improvement and facilities budget plan. Can you kind of talk a little bit more about that, Glenn? Or?
Yeah, we have a committee. It's got about a 10-year outlook. And within it, we've started to identify the weaknesses or the needs of the school, such as our 25-year-old 5 boilers. The roof projects have been part of that process. The lighting that we just did in the gym was part of that process. The boiler in the gymnasium, and our Wi-Fi needs, everything we projected out for 10 years to see where it's slotted, and we're trying to, as we do the program, it's not just a case of this needs to be done in year 5. We're also looking at the cost of those programs to flatten it out. So as we go across the 10 years, there isn't a $400,000 one year and $10 the next year. You know, we don't have those big roller coasters. So we try to move this stuff around accordingly. And we also see opportunities with the roof that we'll be doing over this part of the school, which will be the last part of this roof. There's also an opportunity to fix the issue behind us, which is the refrigeration. For some reason, they put the compressor inside the same room. They put the refrigeration instead of putting the compressor up on the roof. So we have a cold storage area in there that's also generating like 90 to 100 degrees worth of heat. We also have a vent issue in the kitchen. So when we're fixing the roof, that's an opportunity to fix the vents at the same time. So as we see projects being developed and we know what our needs are within the school, we're able to pull those forward or push them back. We meet on average once a month as a committee. We also use Chris Wald from Interlakes SAU, who comes to our meetings with us, who has a lot of experience. We're looking at things as lighting.
What is his position?
He's the facilities director for the Interlake School District, but we have an agreement to utilize his services for the Ashland School.
So instead of getting our own person, we're able to use a
Good.
small portion.
Yeah.
And he comes to our meetings. And he helps us with, you know, if we decide that we want to do for something with lighting. He's already done a number of lighting programs. He knows where to go if we want to do that kind of thing. He is working with, I believe, Tim Paquette on our heating issues. We have cold spots and warm spots, our temperature controls, our zone valving, our thermostats, you know, aren't all where they need to be. We may have a thermostat in one room that actually services another room that's got a wall in between it. So they keep turning up the thing and they're blowing out the other room. And these are things in an old building that, you know, as we discover them, that we want to take care of, you know, reduce our cost of operations, you know, save on oil, save on electricity where we can, and make a better environment for the students. So that's what that committee is working on.
So is this the first year that you started this committee?
The committee started last year,
Oh, it did, okay.
and the plan was built last year. Efforts have been made prior to that, but the work of actually assembling the plan and assembling the committee took place last year to really map that out so that we can try to project and balance the needs over time versus finding ourselves with a lot of needs all at once.
Yeah, and not be able to handle it.
Correct.
And it's also planning it. You know, we have 5 boilers that heat the school. With today's technology, our thought process is that we can probably get away with 3 more efficient boilers instead of 5 boilers. But that means, you know, you got which zone goes on what boiler, so there's some planning there. You know, but that would save substantially on our oil bill, you know, if we can get more efficient and 3 boilers that do the work of 5 older boilers.
And they are somewhat fluid documents because sometimes things change. I mean, you map it out, but sometimes maybe you don't get the life out of something that you had hoped and you have to adjust.
Or, you know, we may have something on the plan and it's like, you know, that's in great shape, we don't need to deal with it, we just push it back a few years.
Good.
So that's, you know, something that we do every month, that we look at that document and decide, does everything stay where it is, or is something happen that requires us to make an adjustment?
And that's a separate committee, not the school board, it's a separate committee
Yeah.
And who provides updates to the school
to
board?
the school board. Anybody have any questions? Sherry?
When was that room converted and which one was put in first? The heater or the cooler or the cooler or the heater?
That's gotta be at least 10 or 15 years. Long time ago.
Unfortunately, institutional knowledge I don't have. My apologies.
Sherry?
Are you gonna do the roof flat again?
This one, yes. Yep. Just like we did the other 2.
And I guess my other question,
Go ahead.
with the walls, I understand when you said you're blowing out one room because there's a heater in one room, and I get that and everything. Is that because of those temporary walls that were put up between the bigger classrooms at one time and then they separated them?
I can't say definitively, but I would guess
There's
yes.
one classroom that a wall was built so that it's a conference room, a smaller room that happened, I think, the year before I came, and that, I think, is where.
I just know there's some barrier walls there.
Yeah.
Did that all happen then? So,
Yeah, it probably happened 7, 8 years ago.
okay.
Yeah.
Cool, thank you.
Yeah. But as we discover that stuff, obviously we need to take care of it.
Thank you, Glenn. The Ashland School Board, if you look in the back on the yellow pages, they do have a warrant article to raise and appropriate $50,000 to be placed in the previously established school safety, security, and facilities maintenance expendable trust. So if you look in the back, you'll see that warrant article. That'll be something that the voters will need to vote on. Any questions on that? The Ashland School Board will put forward a warrant article, and it should be in here for the $35,000, right? Okay. To be placed in the previously established special education expendable trust fund with up to $15,000 to be funded from June 30th, 2018, unreserved fund balance, and the balance to be raised through general taxation. When we had a meeting with the school board, I was so surprised at the number of special ed students that Ashland has. It just amazed me, and that money has to be there. So, I couldn't, what did you say it was? I can't remember exactly, but it was a big,
29 students.
yeah, it was like in the 20s. I was so surprised.
And the request for the expendable trust for special education is oftentimes, special education costs can be somewhat unpredictable.
Right.
You may have a student who moves in who needs a higher degree of service than you have available, and you by law are required to provide that service. And so having the expendable trust allows us to have that opportunity to not have to freeze other aspects of the budget
Right.
to meet those needs.
Because if you don't have that money, you've got to find it somewhere.
Correct,
So,
correct.
anybody have anything to say? Any questions? Okay, there was a withdrawal study committee, recommends that the Ashland School District not withdraw from SAU number 2. They had many, many meetings, and it just wasn't going to be worth it to withdraw. It would be better to stay in the same union, so.
I do have copies available if anybody would like one.
Okay, and if you look under personnel changes, it shows you the personnel changes that they had to do.
What page are you on that one?
On the next page, you see the pie chart of the general operating budget. Trish does a great job at this. She always, every year, it's just perfect. She has everything down, so she does an excellent job.
We agree.
Thank you. And you know what? I'm very, very sorry, because I don't see you that much, but I forgot your first name.
Mary.
Mary. Easy as that, you'd think I would have. Ashland School District proposed budget, you can see that. You can see at the bottom that it's 0.23% increase. And you know, for those of you that haven't worked on budgets, it's very, very difficult to keep the budget down with all the things that, you know, that you need for the school and that you need for the students and that you need for the personnel. So they did an excellent job on doing that. This is the revenue information.
We'd just like to mention that we did include kindergarten aid, which is from the Keno bill that was passed on that green sheet.
Oh, okay.
Just that wasn't when we met with you back in
That's
December.
right, yep.
And that is a conservative estimate. One of the things that I think we all appreciate about Assistant Superintendent Temporino is she is conservative with revenues, because until they're known, we want to make sure we're not over-projecting.
Yeah, and it's better to under-project than
Correct.
over-project.
I
think
Bobby?
I have a silly question. You always see the ads for the lottery, and so much goes to schools. Is there anything here of what, did you get anything from the lottery?
So that, I think
I don't know if
what I
that's
have
just an
learned
ad.
is that actually goes into a trust at the state level that then they use to fund adequacy.
Oh,
and
okay,
so forth.
okay.
So you
I
don't
just thought I'd
actually get
ask.
a lottery check.
It's about 11%.
But it
Okay.
goes to the state
I
to
would-
distribute.
Based on a formula, so every
Right.
is different. And they have a trust fund
Uh-huh.
that serves the fund out of Concord. year, they invent the new formula.
Right,
That's what you end up with.
right. I figured it was something like that. Okay, thanks.
Thank you for that, Mary. It shows the staffing and the budget comparison. If you look at the pinkish purple sheet.
And the back side of the green
Oh, I didn't
sheet
even
does
see
have
that.
the,
Oh, okay.
gives some ideas of what people might anticipate.
What does this budget mean for my tax bill?
Oh,
Okay.
that's a real good idea. That's very helpful, thank you.
If anybody in the audience has any questions, please feel free to raise your hand or whatever. The orange sheet is the 2018-2019 budget report.
And we would just like to draw your attention to, we did have a change at the SAU level, including Mr.
What
Raymond.
page is that on?
That would be on page
7 of 10. So since, I believe when we presented it to you, we had not had an SAU meeting, that there was an adjustment made, which actually went down further, but
What
just want to
line?
bring that to your attention.
Page
What
7.
line?
Page
Oh,
7.
okay, SAU administration.
So it's a decrease.
Went from 8 to 5, right?
The shredder was something new too, wasn't it?
Yes, so in the past, documents were being transported from here to the SAU. You know, you're talking quite a bit of volume, so sometimes people might wonder, why can't you just have a regular shredder? You kind of go through them pretty quickly if you're shredding that volume of paper. Unfortunately, the SAU one, which was through the SAU and Interlinks, was filling up too quickly, and so it makes sense to just use the service. It's a very reasonable service. I think it is $500, maybe Jefferson, no. And, you know, I also appreciate that then we're not taking confidential documents, transporting them, you know, it's just
Right.
better, I think, what's nice is these are kind of big, almost look like heavy-duty waste baskets with they're locked.
Garbage.
Right,
It's
right.
just so easy to get rid of confidential information versus sometimes people who've tried shredders in the past, you're stacking it up till you have time and you're leaving confidential information in a way that you shouldn't.
I think it's much better. I think the liability isn't there
I
either doing
agree.
it that way.
I agree. It's a very reasonable service.
Yeah. Was there any other, I can't remember if there was anything new that we went over besides the shredding? I don't think there was.
We did add a paraeducator, that you saw that under staffing.
Yeah, I saw that, yeah.
So that paraeducator is to support, we have great difficulty getting substitutes, and not necessarily unique to Ashland Elementary. Substitutes are tough to find, you know, in many schools. But it really taxes our staff because they have been covering when they need to be planning or doing other work for those, you know, absences that are, you know, people get the flu, people, you know, have medical pieces that they need to attend.
Unexpectedly.
Exactly. And so by having a building level paraeducator who can help assist with that, we feel that we'll be able to have better continuity for our students and alleviate stress on our staff. In addition, that individual can also at times, not when they're not needed to help support covering a classroom, they can be additional support. We did reduce the substitute line by, I believe it was about $7,000
Oh, good.
to help offset that. But we do think that that might be a better approach for us to move forward with. And And we do have one additional special education paraeducator, and that's really to meet, again, individual
That on, yeah.
education plans.
And on the blue sheet, you'll see the tentative agreement reached between the Ashland Teachers Association and the Ashland School Board, and that's Article number 3. And as a budget committee, we did vote on these warrant articles that Trish had sent us.
Okay.
Article 2. So the Ashland School District set the salaries of district officers for the coming year. It says as follows, it has the amounts down, and that was recommended 5-1 by the Budget Committee. Article 3, to see if the district will vote to approve the cost items included in the collective bargaining agreement reached between the Ashland School Board and the Ashland Teachers Association, which calls for the following increase in salaries and benefits at the current staffing levels over those paid in the prior fiscal year. And that shows you the amounts. And that article was recommended 6-0.
Thank you for your support.
I thought you might like to know this, and the public, might like to know how the Budget Committee felt about
That's
it.
very helpful.
Article 5,
Article 4?
Article 4.
Why do we recommend?
That's not a money article.
It is not.
It says Ashland Budget Committee recommends this article by a vote of.
We didn't vote on it.
No, because it was a non-money.
Okay. Got a SWAT, if anybody gets got.
Let's go through our attorney, I would just add.
Article 5,
I interrupt for a second.
sure.
You do need to vote on that article, because even though it's not a money article,
Yeah.
it's a money article carrying over, because that's going to allow us to negotiate for another contract or bring something back to you. That
Oh,
would be-
because it's based on the previous.
Oh, because it
Based
says
on-
3 cost
I
items
didn't-
only.
I didn't
Okay.
get
Thank
I
you,
was just
Glenn.
reading this.
I didn't get that.
Thank you, Glenn.
All right, I'll make a motion to recommend Article 4.
Okay.
I'll second it.
Bobby made the motion to recommend Article 4, seconded by David. Is there any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
7-0. Article's recommended. No, we didn't have an amount in there. Okay, yeah, okay. Shall the Ashland School District raise and appropriate as an operating budget, not including appropriations by special warrant articles and other appropriations voted separately, the amount set forth on the budget posted with the warrant or as amended by vote of the first session for the purposes set forth therein totaling $3,401,945. Should this article be defeated, the default budget shall be $3,405,960, which is the same as last year with certain adjustments required by previous actions of the Ashland School District or by law. Or the governing body may hold one special meeting in accordance with RSA 40:13, 10x16 to take up the issue of a revised operating budget only. This article includes special warrant articles and other appropriations voted separately. And we voted on that too, didn't we?
Yes.
That was 7-0. So that was recommended too.
And the appropriation that was cited earlier.
Yep.
Thank you.
Article 6, shall the Ashland School District vote to raise and appropriate $50,000 to be placed in the previous established school safety, security, and facilities maintenance expendable trust fund? And that was recommended 4-2. Shall the Ashland School District vote to raise and appropriate $35,000 to be placed in the previously established Special Education Trust Fund with up to $15,000 to be funded from the June 30th, 2018 unreserved fund balance available for transfer on July 1st, 2018? And that was recommended 4-2. We didn't vote on Article 8, but I don't think we need to vote on that because that's a non-money article.
Right.
Are there any questions from the audience? Everybody's just kind of very quiet. Guess Trish did a good job.
Always does. Oh, boy.
I just want to thank all the school board members for the time that, including you, Sandra, for the amount of, and you two in the front, for the amount of time that you put in, and Steve, that's right, Steve is on there now, for the amount of time that you put in and the amount of work that you do. I know it's a lot of work, I know you put in a lot of time, and I just want to personally thank you for all that you do.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And the documents you always provide the budget committee is just to a T.
Stellar.
Yes, it's appreciated.
Okay, there being no other discussion or no questions, I would like to close the school public hearing at 6:27 PM.